Alright, good morning guys. So I'm going to give you a quick brief introduction to computer-aided design. The software we're going to use today is Autodesk Inventor. So you had a brief introduction earlier, kind of just a demonstration. Today you're going to actually be doing some of the things with Inventor. You're going to be able to understand the three file types. Do you guys remember what they were? Anybody? Somebody?
Sheet, part, and assembly.
Sheet, part, and assembly. Very good. So they're different file types like dot something, right? With those, associated with those. You guys remember what they were? Anybody?
IDW.
What's a part?
IDW. Yeah.
What's a part? Somebody raise your hand.
IPT.
IPT, assembly, assembly. Ethan, what's an assembly? What's a drawing? Somebody already said. IDW. So assembly is IAM. So those are three file types. After you model the parts today, two parts, I'm going to have you create an assembly. Then I'm going to have you put that assembly onto a drawing in the form of orthographic projection, meaning there are three views. So to kind of give you a precursor to this, you need to know that every 3D object has how many sides? Like picture a cube in your head. How many sides does a cube have?
6.
6. Okay, so like I said before though, we don't need to show all 6 sides on a drawing. We have to show how many? 3. Okay, they are usually the front view, the top view, and the right side view. Okay, and then usually an isometric drawing with that. So I'm going to sketch the parts up here today. We're going to do a rectangular prism. And under that rectangular prism, there's going to be a hole. Okay, that rectangular prism is going to be 2 inches kind of width. We're going to actually go deeper today, 3 inches deep, and it's going to be 1 inch high. And the diameter of the hole is going to be 1 inch. And the center of the hole is going to be half of that, is 1.5. And then this is going to be half of that, so it's 1 inch right in the middle. So that's part 1. We're going to model quickly. So part 2 is that's going to be the hole, and I'm going to draw the cylinder. And the cylinder, the diameter is equal to 1. Okay, because we're not going to get into tolerances right now, but you know, obviously they're equal and it would fit in, but there's something called tolerances as you get further along in CAD that you need to account for to make sure that shaft is able to be inserted in the hole. And the height for this is going to be, let's make it 3 inches, so there'll be 1 inch sticking out on each side of that. Okay, so this is part 2. And then I'm going to be able to show you how to actually represent. So we'll represent the assembly together on a drawing with that. So that would be the front view looking that way. And you would have this cylinder through. And then on the side, it's a little wider, right? 3 inches. And you would still see that through with hidden lines going through. And then on the top view is where you would see the actual hole for that. So you have your front view, your right side view, and your top view. That's how we're going to show it on the drawing in Inventor. Any questions with that? All right. So I actually modeled these for you up here. Now I'm going to go to the computer and show you exactly how to model them. So I'm going to turn it. Say hi to the camera if you want. So it's a 9th grade applied technology class, a mixed class with learning about Inventor. So can I grab a seat? Let's go. All right, so you guys got to turn around so you can see the computer. So you guys over here. And there's a lot of glare. So Nicolazzi, can you pull down the shades up there so we can see the screen? It's getting better. Keep going. No weird faces in the camera. Santini. No phones out. Alright, so it's kind of hard to see. Make sure you can see the computer. But the first thing we're going to do is go to a new file, right? And when you click new, the first thing you do is pick a standard part. So I'm going to pick standard part, and I'm going to hit create. And it brings me up to that general screen where it says I want to start my new sketch. Okay? Does anyone remember what those things were? When we do new sketch, we have to pick something. There's 3 things that we have to pick. One of the planes, right? And that start 2D sketch. What plane do I pick? Typically, XY, right? So let's pick the XY. And that I'm in a 2D environment now, and I'm going to sketch my first part up there, which is part 1. And I'm going to do just a 2x1 rectangle. So I go to my rectangle command, and I'm going to go 2-point center. So I pick the center, and I drag out. And I'm going to pick, as it increments here, I'm going to put 2, tab, 1 for the height. And it's completely, fully constrained. I'm going to hit finish sketch. Does anyone remember what that 3D command was? Extrude. So I'm going to hit extrude. And now it's going to make my part 3D. That's the command for 3D. And I'm going to go... Actually, I'm going to make it symmetric, so it's going to be equal around the origin. So see that? There's my 3D part. We can bring up the orbit tool over here. Okay, and I can move my part around. And now I'm going to do the hole, right? I need a 1-inch hole in the center. How do I do that? I can simply go to Start 2D Sketch. Pick the top surface. And it puts me on the top surface, and I'm sketching that. Now, it knows where the center is, so I'm going to do a circle from the center point. I'm going to drag out, and I'm in input 1 for the diameter. Right? The diameter is the distance across the entire center. And I'm going to finish sketch. Now, the other command, extrude again, but instead of join, I'm going to use the cut command and cut a hole away. So this part's done, right? Part 1 is done. I want you to go to File, the I, Save As. Just go to the desktop for now and call it Block 1. Okay, now leave that file up. File, New, Standard Part, Create, Start Sketch. I'm going to pick the XY plane again. I'm going to pick a circle. I'm going to sketch the circle and make it 1. Finish sketch, extrude it, and I'm going to go symmetric again, and I said up there the part is going to be 3 inches long, and there's my part. Now if you want to make it colored again, you can come up here to the paint, and I can pick surfaces, make them different colors if you want. Now let's save that part. We're going to save that part as cylinder. Okay, we have 2 parts drawn, and now I'm going to go to File, new, and I'm going to go to my assembly file type, standard IAM, right? Now, I'm going to go to place, and now I have to pick from the desktop what I just had up, those two parts. So I'll bring my block 1 in first, and I'm going to hit open. I'm going to right click on my mouse, and I'm going to say place grounded at origin, and hit escape so there's only one of them there. So now I can't move that block. That's what I don't want to move that block. Now I'm going to go to place again, and I'm going to pick the cylinder. And I'm going to show you how to correctly constrain this cylinder to the block so it goes in the middle. Okay? So this is really, really quick. I will go over this again in greater detail if you need to individually. But I'm going to go to constrain command, and I'm going to pick the mate. I'm going to pick the mate command there, and I'm going to pick the hole on the block, and it automatically inserts it in the hole. And I hit apply. And now I can still drag this up and down. Okay, there is a way to constrain that face to each other if I wanted to, but I want to be able to make it move and keep it inside their, line of axis of symmetry. But if I wanted to make the tops equal, I could do that too. But I'm going to cancel it. I want it to be able to move. Now, since it's an assembly, it's a separate file type. I have to save it accordingly. So I'm going to save it as block assembly. And it automatically saves that file type as an IAM.
Okay, print something really quick.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go to, that's saved. I'm going to go to File, New. IDW is my drawing file, and I'm going to create it. So here, it's a C-size sheet, meaning it's probably 17 by 22, a little too big. So I'm going to make that sheet a little smaller. So I'm going to right click over in my project model browser, edit sheet, and I'm going to pick A. NC-A is 8.5 by 11. Okay, now I'm ready to actually put the assembly in an orthographic drawing. So I go to base view, right? And it automatically puts my front view in because that was the last file that was open. I'm just going to left click, okay? I don't want to go over my title block. I can make the scale smaller here under scale. I'm going to left click. I'm going to drag right. I'm going to drag up, and I'm going to drag to the top right. And I'm going to left click, and then when it's finally done, right click and create your object. Oh, the top didn't get projected, so I can go to projected, pick the base view, and drag up and create that view. Now, you don't see any hidden lines either, so I'm going to double click. I'm going to pick this style under hidden lines. So you can see those hidden lines through my part now. Now, it's also too big. I'm going to double click on the first view. I'm going to make it half scale so the parts become smaller, easier to put on your page. I'm going to do the same thing with my isometric. I'm going to make it half scale, and I'm going to make it shaded. Clicking that button on the right under shaded. Okay, so now what do you got to do? The only thing left to do is to dimension your part accordingly. And let me bring that further so you can see it. So now I'm going to annotate it with dimensions under the annotate tab. Dimension, I'm going to do my basic ones for today. My overall length. My overall depth here can be done on this view. And line it up with that front view. And I'm going to put my height on the right side view. If you wanted to get further, you can pick each one. So that's one. And one of these from here to there will be one. But I'm actually going to pick it this way. Pick the right line first. Oop, left line first, sorry. Like that. I have to dimension up here this whole command. So I'm going to go to dimension. I'm going to pick it. It's a diameter of 1. I'm going to put a center line under that center mark command for the circle. And I have to dimension the location of it, corner to corner. So it's 1.5 and 1, the distance of it. Now, fill in your title block. Under annotate, there's also a text command. Go to text, put your name. It's going to be drawn by Mr. Cast, and put your name when you do it. And you want to put the title of it over here, and that's called Block Assembly Project. And that is basically your introduction to Inventor, understanding the 3 different types of files that you can be associated with, and then actually put them on a drawing and manufacture these 2 parts with either wood, metal, or plastic, and whoever's manufacturing the part can actually have a correct drawing, a scaled drawing on how to do that. So when you're finally done with your drawing, file save it as block assembly drawing onto the desktop, and you are complete. Any questions with that? It was very, very fast, but you should have no problem doing this
Yes.
for the final exam for this rotation in this class.
Yeah.
All right, you try it. I will help you guys independently.